You turn 25, maybe 27, and suddenly a quiet realization hits you. You've been earning a steady income for years, but your net worth is essentially zero. You aren't buying sports cars or flying first class. You're just living. But somehow, every month, the account balance resets back to baseline. Most people assume this is just what adult life costs. They tell themselves, I'll start building actual wealth in my 30s when I make real money. That single assumption is the most expensive mistake you will ever make. Because the financial moves that build lasting wealth aren't about how much you earn, they are about setting structural traps for your money before your expenses permanently expand to consume your income. By the end of this video, you'll understand the 5 specific financial moves you need to execute before age 30, including a counterintuitive strategy at move number 4 that completely changes how you build long-term security. Let's look at a realistic scenario. Take 2 people, Sarah and Marcus. Both are 24 years old, earning a net salary of $3,500 a month. Marcus decides to enjoy his 20s. He pays $1,400 in rent, spends $600 on food and dining out, $300 on a car payment, $400 on subscriptions, weekends, and shopping, and leaves the remaining $800 sitting in his checking account. When an unexpected expense pops up, an emergency flight, a mechanical issue, a deposit for a new apartment, it comes out of that remaining cash. At 30, Marcus gets a promotion to $5,500 a month, but his rent is now $2,100, his car payment is $550, and his lifestyle has quietly scaled up to match. He still has almost nothing saved. Sarah earns the exact same $3,500. But before doing anything else, she automates 5 specific structural moves. She doesn't live like a monk. She still goes out, still takes trips, and still enjoys her youth. But because her money moves automatically through a system designed in her 20s, by the time she hits 30, she isn't starting from scratch, she's sitting on a compounding engine worth tens of thousands of dollars. Here is the exact framework Sarah used, and why executing these 5 moves before 30 alters your financial trajectory forever. The first move is setting up what most people call an emergency fund, but we're going to treat it differently. Call it a liquidity firewall. Most people approach saving for emergencies backward. They save whatever is left over at the end of the month. The problem? There is never anything left over. Spending naturally expands to fill available liquidity. Before age 30, you must establish a dedicated buffer equal to 3 to 6 months of essential living expenses, not your total income, just your mandatory survival baseline. If your rent, basic groceries, utilities, and debt obligations total $2,000 a month, your firewall target is $6,000 to $12,000. Here's the part most people miss. This money must live in a high-yield savings account, HYSA, completely separated from your primary checking account, preferably at a different bank. When your emergency fund sits in the same mobile app as your daily spending money, your brain treats it as available capital. Separating it creates psychological friction. That 48-hour transfer delay between banks is often the exact buffer required to stop you from dipping into your safety net for a non-emergency purchase. A liquidity firewall isn't meant to make you rich. It's designed to keep you from becoming poor when life inevitably throws a curveball. Without it, one unexpected job transition or medical bill forces you onto high-interest credit cards, wiping out years of progress instantly. Once your firewall is initiated, the second move is ruthlessly eliminating high-interest capital drag. Capital drag is any debt with an interest rate higher than what the broader market historically returns, typically anything above 7% or 8%. Credit cards carrying 20% to 29% APR fall firmly into this category. Consider this calculation: if you carry a $5,000 credit card balance at a 24% interest rate and only pay the minimum required amount of $150 a month, it will take you over 4 years to pay it off, and you will hand over more than $2,800 purely in interest charges. That is an absolute tax on your future self. No investment vehicle, index fund, or side hustle can consistently beat a guaranteed negative 24% return. Paying off a 24% debt is functionally identical to finding an investment that guarantees a risk-free 24% return every single year. Before age 30, attack high-interest debt with calculated intensity. Use either the snowball method, paying off the smallest balances first for psychological momentum, or the avalanche method, focusing entirely on the highest interest rate first to minimize mathematical loss. Choose the method you can stick to, clear the board, and never carry a consumer balance month to month again. Now that your defensive floor is set, move number 3 is building your offensive engine, automating your compounding baseline. In your 20s, time is your greatest financial asset. The math behind compound interest relies far more on duration than on raw capital volume. Let's look at the numbers. If you invest $300 a month starting at age 22, assuming an average annual market return of 8%, by age 60 you will have accumulated roughly $830,000. If you wait until age 32 to start investing that exact same $300 a month, by age 60 you will have roughly $360,000. 10 years of waiting costs you nearly $500,000 in potential wealth, not because you invested less total cash, but because you forfeited a decade of compounding cycles. You don't need to pick individual stocks, trade options, or guess market trends. The move here is setting up automatic monthly contributions to broad market index funds, such as an S&P 500 or Total World Stock Market Fund, through tax-advantaged accounts like a 401k or Roth IRA. Set the transfer to trigger the day after your paycheck arrives. If you don't see the money in your primary checking account, you won't build your lifestyle around spending it. This brings us to the 4th move, and it's where most traditional financial advice gets things completely wrong. Standard personal finance advice tells you to cut out small pleasures, to stop buying $4 coffees or cancel your $15 streaming subscriptions. While tracking baseline spending matters, hyper-focusing on micro-expenses creates a scarcity mindset that caps your potential. Saving $4 a day saves you $1,460 a year. That's fine, but it will never dramatically alter your financial life. Move number 4 is leveraging skill asymmetry to systematically increase your earning ceiling. In your 20s, your greatest point of leverage is not what you save, it is your earning capacity. Investing $2,000 into high-value skill acquisition, specialized certifications, professional coaching, or strategic career shifts often yields a 100% to 500% return on investment within 12 to 24 months. If you earn $40,000 a year, there is a hard limit to how much you can cut. You cannot cut past zero. But there is no theoretical cap on how much you can earn. Moving your income from $40,000 to $75,000 by building high-demand technical skills, sales capabilities, or industry expertise creates a surplus that dwarfs any savings realized from skipping coffee. Do not sacrifice high ROI personal growth just to keep a few extra dollars sitting stagnant in checking. Use your 20s to build skills that make your hour of time significantly more valuable to the market. The final move before turning 30 is purely psychological, yet it dictates whether the first 4 moves actually stick. You must actively decouple your visible status from your actual net worth. The fundamental trap of your late 20s is lifestyle inflation driven by social signaling. As your peers begin advancing in their careers, you will see upgraded cars, nicer apartments, designer wear, and expensive dinners filling your social feeds. It is easy to confuse high spending with wealth. In reality, hyperconsumption is often just high debt or zero liquidity in disguise. Wealth is what you don't see. It is the unspent income, the invested capital, the financial flexibility, and the peace of mind that comes from owning assets rather than liabilities. When you upgrade your lifestyle every time your salary increases, you keep your net worth flat while increasing your fixed overhead. Instead, adopt the 50% lifestyle cap rule. Whenever you get a raise, bonus, or higher-paying job, take at least 50% of the net increase and immediately direct it into your automated investments or debt reduction. You can use the remaining 50% to enjoy your present life. This allows your lifestyle to improve gradually without choking off your wealth engine. To turn these concepts into immediate results, do not try to overhaul everything simultaneously. Execute them in this precise order. Step 1. Open a high-yield savings account at a separate financial institution and automate a weekly transfer until you hit your baseline Liquidity Firewall target. Step 2. List any non-mortgage debt by interest rate and dedicate all excess cash flow above your basic savings to eliminating anything above 7%. Step 3. Set up an automatic recurring purchase into a broad market index fund inside a tax-advantaged account, even if it's only $50 or $100 per pay cycle to start. Step 4. Identify one core skill in your industry that commands higher compensation, and commit time and capital to mastering it over the next 6 months. Step 5. Institute the 50% rule on your next income increase to protect your growing margin from lifestyle creep. Building wealth in your 20s isn't about hitting a specific net worth milestone by an arbitrary age. It's about building automated systems and behavioral guardrails early enough that time does the heavy lifting for you. When you get these 5 moves right, 30 isn't a point where you start scrambling to figure out your finances, it's the launchpad where your compounding systems begin to pay visible dividends. If this breakdown helped you evaluate where your money is going, subscribe to Money with Rabbi. We break down practical money problems and actionable strategy without the noise. Take one step on this list today, set up the system, and let time work in your favor.